Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We are doing our mic test. If you can see us, if you can hear us, go ahead and give us a thumbs up so we'll know everything is working properly. We will begin promptly at 3 o'clock.
Good afternoon, everyone. Another pretty day out there with a little rain coming in. Alex will be here in a minute. He'll give you a little update on our weather and what to expect from that. But I'll go in with a quick update on our cleanup. And as I said yesterday, things are going pretty smooth with that. Still got a lot of people that's be bringing stuff out this week and into the weekend. And as I said, we're going to continue this as needed all the way through. However many weeks it takes to get this taken care of. Had some calls. I think it was Wednesday after the storm when I got my first calls about. We had one of their cemeteries were damaged, and actually over at Witt Cemetery. Robert's been over there this morning with a lot of volunteers there. They're cleaning up, and we had Billy go over and check to see what we can do to actually help them. They've got it. Robert just called me. They've got it actually passable in case there were a funeral or whatever. It can be used. A lot of people buried in that cemetery. A lot of my friends, a lot of people I was raised with, and we are able to help cemeteries like that are not-for-profit cemeteries that are community cemeteries. We've helped always in the past, and also churches that if they have damage like that, we can go in and we can take our trustees if needed, and we can actually help with our equipment to get that emergency in an emergency to get the trees and all moved. So thank goodness that we've got that taken care of. Well, it's not totally. We've still got quite a bit of work he said to do, but maybe we can go in and finish it up. Also had a call about our burn pit over there where we're burning, where the state has been hauling, and we have, and everyone. We're going to try to limit that and cut it down to like maybe have 2 days a week that we do burn until we get this taken care of, because the biggest part of it is, we've got it, burned, incinerated, but we're still going to, like I said, it'll lag on into the weeks to come. And we'll choose those days as advised by our weather people as far as the the ceiling height, the barometric pressure, and all that. It keeps smoke down. We'll try to burn on the days that we can go up. And that's not a permanent thing. That's just through the emergency, try to get this done. And we've not had that many calls, but I know there's a lot of people out there that this won't call. That still it's bothering them. But we're working to get done and try to help that situation out. Moving into the actual. The governor's comments yesterday and his actually opening of Georgia. We know that the businesses, some of them will be opening Friday, and then several more will be opening on Monday. And we just ask you to be, try to follow all guidelines, try to be safe, and use common sense. And I've had some people call me, it's not a mandate that you open your business. That's up to you. It's not saying you've got to open it. We can't, the government's going to tell you to open it or close it, but that's something that's totally up to you, and that's we just ask you to be safe and follow all the rules as presented. We had questions yesterday, and I even had the question myself. It's the numbers that the governor based his decision on as far as the curve. It's already made the curve and started down, and Carey has got that posted out there. She did request that through Public Health. They posted it sometime yesterday, I think after lunch, sometime yesterday evening. And it does show a curve, in the whole state now, and it actually starting to descend or start dropping. But now that doesn't necessarily, that's the whole state. We know Dade County better than anyone. Walker County knows Walker County better than anyone. So we know how our numbers are running. And as I mentioned yesterday, I don't feel real good about exactly going into this all, like they're doing. But that's not our call. That's the governor's call. But what we can do about it is, if you feel like you need to go ahead and open your business, go into business, just be safe about it, and be overboard, do overkill on actually the safety as far as cleanliness and your day-to-day operation of your business and your employees. We intend to make the opening up process as safe as we possibly can within our powers. You can be assured of that, and that's the city commission, Alex, and my commission, and myself. We will be monitoring it, and the let's see here. You do have them on the line, right? Okay, you posted. Okay, where people can see that. Let's see here now. I mentioned the cemetery, the churches, and the smoke. Let me go into our numbers now. We did have an increase from yesterday. We had one extra and one more. We went from 12 to 13. That's to be, I guess, expected, because now there is more and more testing done every day now, because more and more testing facilities are out there. And we had a question yesterday of why we don't have one in Dade County. Well, that may happen before it's over with, but right now we're fortunate to have one that's opened in Walker County, which is just across the mountain. And people that's been tested lately that I know of in Dade County, I know of at least 2 or 3, that's where they went, and it's real simple, quick. It's a drive-through. You don't get out of your car. It's just like you see them advertising there on TV or on the news, So we're fortunate to have one that close. And that now there's probably, I know there's several in Chattanooga. There's some private private groups that are doing, but this is through Public Health, Georgia Public Health, and the cost of $40 over there, from what I understand. And I'm not sure the time. I think it's anywhere from 48 hours. 2 to 3 days, I think, from what I understand. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what they said. But anyway, we did go up. We went up 1 to 13. Walker County had a pretty good increase. They went from 28 to 36. That's 8 more in 24 hours. Catoosa County, they went from 26 to 29. Chattooga County, they stayed the same. Whitfield County went from 46 to 47. Floyd County, they stayed the same. Gordon County, 66 to 68. Bartow County went from 256 to 258. That's 2. Gordon County went up 2. It's kind of odd, they're actually kind of leveling off down in those counties. Where back, a few weeks ago, they were going just crazy down there with numbers, and we were staying level. So it's kind of almost like a blanket effect there, up on the kind of like a whip. But it's I've noticed that, in the last week or so anyway. We still have 666 unknown counties and unknown counties, which is residents that they're not sure of. Actually, the residents haven't been located. There's been a total of 836 deaths. That's up from 799 as of yesterday. In our Tennessee counties, and as I mentioned yesterday, we really like this report here because they go in depth and give us the recovered people, the people that actually are recovered and back at work or back in their everyday routine. It kind of balances things out, and hopefully we'll start getting these in Georgia, because it'll when I read this, you'll see it makes you feel more at ease, because you know how many people really are out there that are back to work. Hamilton County, they went up from 118 to 124, but out of that 124, they have 71 that's fully recovered. They also had 12 deceased in Hamilton County. Marion County, which borders us, they stayed the same. They were 28 yesterday, 28 today, but out of that 28, they've got 21 recoveries, and so that only gives them about 7 active cases there in the county somewhere. Grundy County, they went from 25 to 26. They were at 1, but they've got 20 recovered. So that's pretty good. I mean, they've got 6 people, 6 cases that are positive, that are still active. Sequatchie County stayed the same, 3 at 3. They have 2 recovered. That only gives them 1 active. 3. Meigs has 3. That's the same from yesterday. They have 2 that's recovered. That's 1 active. 37 in Bradley County. That's up from 33 from yesterday. They had 33 recovered out of 37, and they were 37 yesterday, so they were the same. They didn't go up. That shows they only have 4 active. Totally, in Tennessee, is 157 deaths. That's up from 152 yesterday. In our adjoining county of Jackson and DeKalb County, Jackson went up 1 yesterday. They went from 40 to 41. DeKalb County went from 47 to 53. And there again, we don't have the Alabama or Georgia recovery rates, and hopefully we'll be able to produce those before long. We'll go ahead and get Alex up here and let him go through his report. He's going to give you a full report pertaining to the city, and also a little bit on our weather and all. So he'll be back in just a minute, and we have our Sheriff's Department represented also today.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Case, Director of Dade County Emergency Services and Mayor of the City of Trenton. As Ted mentioned, the opening of our businesses, and we post this on the county's website. It's also linked off the city's website, but this is the guidance to prepare a workplace for COVID-19. It was released yesterday and fine-tuned up, but it is for all types of workplaces. They're rating them to very high to extremely high to medium and low of what type your workplace is and measures to put in. We're looking at it as well to start preparing the areas for the county and for the city, how we're going to have open to the public to work on things. The areas that have been open, like some of our hardware stores and your grocery stores and the post office, you see these plastic barriers or plexiglass barriers. That's what we're talking about. And some areas actually put another table in front of their desk, so they're not so far we can still pass documents around. I would encourage you, it's a 35-page document. It's on the websites. Please take it out. I briefed through it yesterday, and we were reading some more on it today. This will help the employers to make sure that the public is safe and their workforce is safe, and remember the practices that are set aside for us for this. Again, we are the ones that are making this better and continuing the downward curve. A lot of worship places have called. I know my preacher we've talked several times, and we're making preparations, and our churches will be putting announcements out how to do that and following the guidelines as well. Again, please look for these things. They're out there on the CDC websites for best practices. And again, for these employers here for the OSHA COVID-19 preparation. A lot of questions we're still asking as well too, and every day we see something new. Again, I think everyone we talk about with good ethics, good social distancing, barriers of thing, a lot of the physical contact, hopefully as each day goes down and the curve continues to go down, we can stop the curve even when we open up, but it's going to take us all. It's going to take me and you and everybody in this county and state. So I won't jump into the weather. This has been something, there is some storms moving back into our area. The worst of the storms are going to be south of us coming in tomorrow, early in the morning, tomorrow morning. It's going to be around I-20 south. It's about the same areas we received last week. Now we are going to see some storms. We are in a marginal risk. A marginal risk means a longevity of storms or spotty storms can pop up. This afternoon and tonight, we're seeing some chance of storms moving in tonight, and tomorrow morning early, there'll probably be a couple rounds of storms moving in, probably before 8 a.m. We will have some areas that will potentially have the storms rolling in. It's coming in like it did last week and Easter weekend as well. But again, it is way south of us a few hours. They do have some areas of concern with winds and tornadoes and hail, as we did 2 weeks ago. Again, the first round, Thursday a.m. from one model. Again, we will attach this to our Facebook, the County and Emergency Management, for you to see. But the first round sometime in the morning before 8 a.m. and the second round could come in later in after 5 p.m. I watched several of the local forecasts this morning on their Facebook and networks, and they're feeling the same as that. So please continue to watch those, our local forecasters, this afternoon and tonight at their forecasts. We will be monitoring here. The pickup, as Chairman Rumley talked about, the state has been here to help us. They actually cut short today around 12:30, anticipation to get those task force back to their districts to anticipate any damage that may happen in their districts tomorrow morning, because some of them were a little bit south of here. We're going to be continuing to work with them to see how much longer they will assist us on the state roads and county roads. We appreciate the governor's order to allow us to use those assets. It's been a tremendous help to both city and county. On top of that, when all the flash floodings come, Chairman Rumley mentioned our Sulphur Springs Gap and other areas. We've had a lot of ditches that has filled up. We're trying to get cleaned back up, because if we don't, we're going to have continuing flash flooding, which is trying to keep them out of a road. So the guys have been very busy catching up on routine ditching because of the flooding, and while the state's been helping us pick up the debris in our affected areas. So again, thank you for what you do. Please monitor our weather. Look at our website for these guidelines. All your employers or worship centers, please feel free to give us a call. We do have some things. You got questions?
Where can they get the weather radio?
A lot of the weather radios are purchased online or in some of the stores. We haven't had any in a while. We do have a lot of areas where in the county it's hard to get the transmission. Somebody brought one in this morning and we could not get it inside the building here. We had to go outside to test it. So I would look at our website as well and go to the HyperReach link. That HyperReach will text you, email you, and call you once the warnings are put out. Hopefully we'll just be in a slight risk of these thunderstorms, since we are at a marginal risk. But yeah, there's a lot of different apps from different carriers as well that does that based on your location. All right.
Chad?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Chad Payne. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Dade County Sheriff's Office. Just a few things I want to touch on today. Pretty much nothing's changed from yesterday as far as the Sheriff's Office goes, but a few things I do want to touch on. I noticed earlier that some people had some questions about, to the Sheriff's Office page, had some questions about local alerts. Local alerts is a new feature that Facebook has pushed out to governmental agencies. And what that does is that if your phone is pinged to a location inside the jurisdiction of that agency, then we can send you a local alert. We used it. We started to use it a little bit. We used it a lot during the tornadoes a couple weeks ago, or on Easter night. We used that when we would get a severe weather alert. We would post a local alert, and what that does is if you're located within that jurisdiction, it sends a push notification to Facebook and shows you that you have a local alert. It's a pretty neat feature. It's still early in its development, so and it's not something that we've had access to very long, but Carey with the county government has access to it as well. So if you see that pop up, that's what it is. It's just a better way to notify people. Now, it's not something that's since it is early on in development, it's not something that's going to be 100% foolproof. So don't rely on that only. Have multiple ways to get those type of alerts if you need them. We'll also be using them for traffic alerts and things like that, missing persons and those sorts of things. And it's only available to governmental agencies on Facebook. Another thing that we've been getting a lot of questions about is arrest reports that have not been published by some of our local media. That is something that we are working on. A few weeks ago, just before the tornado and the COVID-19 thing hit, we did a big upgrade. Alex with EMA and Daniel did a big upgrade to our system, and for some reason it put a bug into our arrest reports, and we can print them off, it's just not complete, and it doesn't show what you need to show in order to give that out. So it's not that we're not providing those, it's that it's out of our control as far as being able to get that fixed. Alex and Daniel have sent that ticket per se up the chain to the developer, and they have been working on it, and we hope to have something resolved in that. And when that time comes and it does come back out and we are able to push those out again, we will send all that we've missed. So it's not that we're trying to hide anything, it's just technology and it's a bug. So that's some of the things. Also, we did a delivery today for myself and Detective Thurman did a delivery for groceries, so we're still doing that service. We've had some people ask us how long we're going to be providing that. It's looking like now that we're going to continue to provide that until the shelter in place is lifted. As of right now, it's the middle of next month for the vulnerable people who might be vulnerable to this virus. They're saying that you can voluntarily shelter in place until the middle of next month. So that'll probably be how long we run that. So if you need that service, give me a call. Contact the Sheriff's Office, 706-657-3233. That's 657-DADE. Or you can do the info@dadesheriff.com. That's the email address, and any and all questions can be presented through those. So I hope everybody stays well and everybody be vigilant. Don't panic, just stay vigilant and do what we have to do to get through this.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Alex. I just want to, add to what Chad said. Don't panic. That's a big, a simple phrase, but a big phrase, because it's not time to panic. It's just a time to go on with this thing and be safe and try to follow the rules and get through this. And hopefully one day before too long we'll get back to partially normal. Hopefully, Sulphur Springs Gap was mentioned yesterday, and Alex touched on that too. Billy and our crew, or part of our crew, has been down there today, actually on Sulphur Springs Road, which goes across the ridge, and we're actually have cleaned some of the area up on Sulphur Springs Gap to kind of prepare for this rain that we're going to get through tomorrow, just to keep from making things any worse than what it is. But that road will be down for a while. It'll be down for several weeks because of the. I know you can't tell at the top or at the bottom how much damage, but halfway up, 3/4 way up there, is some massive cross drains that are gone. They're blown out and gone down the mountain. So it's going to take some time on that road. We will be back tomorrow at 3 o'clock unless we're needed to come back earlier. My number is 667-8999. We always post that. Carey's got practically all the information, anything we talked about today, but a lot of numbers, a lot of things to actually look at on our website. What was that, Alex? You actually showed them a while ago that was a printout from
OSHA.
Okay, from OSHA, and she has that also posted. And so if there's any questions, that you can't, make out there, your answers online. If you just call my number or any of the commissioners, and we'll get you an answer. But we got any questions today?
I have something I need to do this first.
Okay, come on. Yeah.
We do have several questions, and if you want to go ahead and send in your questions now, we will get to that question session in just a minute. I did want to remind you that the census is still going on. I don't know if you can see this, but make sure to get counted in the 2020 census. Go to www.2020census.gov. It's very easy. On the website in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a little green button that says respond. If you click that, it will allow you to do your census. So please get counted, do your census, remind everybody around you to do their census as well. And we did have a question about the new graph, and I did want to show you. I responded to somebody in the comments and said, here's the link. They said, well, that's the daily status report, and it is. But the Georgia Department of Health added 2 graphs close to the bottom of that daily status report. So for those of you who are checking that out every day, you will see something new. They added it yesterday after lunch. The graph looks like this. There are 2 of them. One of them is COVID cases. It's the daily average of COVID cases. And the other is the daily average of COVID deaths. And so I know you probably can't see this very well, but it does show a downward turn in that trajectory. And we are, Dr. Toomey with the Department of Public Health said the other day that she expects that trend to continue downward so that we will have hit that 14-day standard that was put in place by the White House for the reopening. And this is a gradual reopening, so don't worry, and just hear this. This is just from one person to another person. I know a lot of you guys are afraid because you or a loved one has a compromised immune system, and because of that, the thought of being in public again is scary for you. Those of you who own businesses are afraid because you're wondering if your businesses are going to continue to thrive after this is over. Still, other people are afraid of the erosion of constitutional rights. And just remember this, during this time, we are all afraid of something. And we may be afraid of more than one thing at a time. So be kind to yourselves. Be kind to each other. Do what's right for you. Do what's right for your family members. Do what's right for your business. Use common sense. Do the best you can at sanitizing what needs to be sanitized. Wash your hands. Practice that social distancing. Somebody made a comment that we're not wearing masks here. Well, we're not. We are further than 6 feet apart at all times. So please know that we are taking precautions here as well. And now we'll go to those questions. One of the first questions we had was about the testing fee at Walker County, if it is a $40 testing fee or not. And I know we were doing some quick research on that, so let's see if we have an answer to that yet.
We have the answer. That's no problem. In fact, you went through that, so you can answer it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I did that test yesterday. If you're referring to the antibody test that is given by the Reddy Clinic in Lafayette, then yes, it is a $40 fee. Your flex spending account, health saving accounts, and things like that will pay for that, but I don't believe insurance will pay for it at this time. You do not need a referral for the antibody test. I know Ms. Sims asked if you needed a referral for the antibody or for the test. You do not need a referral for the antibody test, but you do need a referral for the actual COVID-19 virus diagnosing test. So that's the answer to that one.
Yeah, and also I will add to that, the actual swab, the test that actually is performed by our public health is free. They actually swab you, but what Chad's talking about is when they prick your finger and check your blood, right? And that's the $40. That's paid to a private provider. But the health department, that is totally that's free if they actually see that you need to be tested with the swab. So just making sure that's clear. Yeah. What else you got?
What is the date for vulnerable individuals to be out again?
Okay. That's May. Is it the 14th? May the 14th?
I'm sorry, I forgot to say that on the microphone so people could hear. The question was, what is the date for vulnerable people to be out again?
Without looking, I think it's May the 14th. I'm pretty sure that's the date for that. Yeah. That's from public health.
Another question we have is about storm shelters. Are we planning to have any storm shelters in the future in Dade County?
Oh, yeah, that's Alex. You want to talk about? You've been working on this for a long time, and they're getting closer and closer.
Yeah, Yeah, we received from a storm prior years ago, a storm that we were declared of, and at the time we had GEMA and FEMA opens up mitigation funds for us to apply. And at that time, it was generators. We just finished a project with generators at critical infrastructures the year before, and we applied for storm shelters. It took 3 years of back and forth with FEMA on some checking with the lands. It had to be county-owned lands, which we got county and school board land that we're working with. And we've been approved for 3 storm shelters at the Davis School Road, behind the Davis School, the South Dade Community Center, by the Fire Hall and the Community Center, and the Dade County Sports Complex on Highway 11 South. And we do have an alternate site that we had to have in, and it will be at the North Dade Community Center, the old North Dade School. It's nearly $1.2 million of federal fund that is expensed 85%, which means that we're in the RFP process. We have to follow federal procurement processes. So we've got an RFP nearly done and sent out with the specs and everything we want to do. We will be doing a lot of the groundwork ourselves with Public Works and local contractors, as us being the general contractor. Then we will be putting that RFP out soon. We had to request an extension on it because it took 3 years for the grant to be approved, and the grant is to be running out this August. So they have awarded that extension for us, and so as soon as we get away from these storms and applications and COVID, we're in the process of still keeping our day-to-day stuff going, and that's the RFP process that will be out for that. And then each shelter holds 210 people apiece. They're ADA capability with restrooms, backup power, heat and air conditioning, and we have to have a place to park that many. We have to have a place to take all accessibilities. So yes, in the future, that's what we've worked on. We have been approved. Once we get the final bids to go before the commission, all the commissioners, we've talked about it, and we had to get approved to continue this on. So we are awarded that, and we're working hard to move towards that in the future. At the current time, we'll still use our schools. All of our schools have got ratings in their hallways for tornado areas, and thank you, Dade County School Board and School System, Dr. Harris, and them for allowing us to continue to do that in our current buildings here, the Justice Building and Administration Building.
Any other questions? Okay. That money, Alex, too, the match money that we have to use for those storm shelters too, that's SPLOST money.
We use SPLOST.
It'll be coming out of SPLOST money. Yeah, because that was put in there. Okay. I would like to say too, there's on the Lyman School coming back. Alex, I think you got that copy on that too, on that the email we got from them today, and they are going through with their testing. They are actually in fact I'll read this out tomorrow. I'll read it word for word where the boys will be anywhere that they go on campus or off. They'll be wearing strictly the mask. They're going through a lot of protective things there for the boys and to protect them and us and the actual boys themselves. So I'll give you that. I will myself or Alex will go over that and read that.
Do have another question.
Yeah.
We did just get another question, and this is about the rec leagues, and we know that they have their own group who determines what they can do, but since they use the parks, will they be able to restart if they choose to?
That from what I've read is in the phase 2 of the actual opening, because that's that was mentioned, I think, in the governor's thing and also the president's thing too, as far as so that's kind of out of our hands, but I'm all for it too, boys and girls. I tell you what, because I know there's a lot of people hit of all times for this thing to hit. It's right at the time when everybody was getting fired up, fixing to order the uniforms and getting prepared, but we're behind it 100%. We just gotta follow these guidelines though right now. Yeah. Is that everything? Okay. All right. As I said, my number, you've got my cell number, 667-8999. Call us, and we'll be back tomorrow at 3 o'clock. And if you think of any more questions, just shoot it to Carey even during the meantime, and she can get it to me or call me, and we'll get you an answer. So we'll see you tomorrow at 3. Thank you.